The story keeps getting better for Republican presidential candidate Newt Gingrich. He went from an unlikely choice to now being the front runner, and he has received a key endorsement from New Hampshire's largest newspaper, the Union Leader. Giving us some perspective on this is Washington executive editor Al Hunt. So, Al, it was a good Thanksgiving for Newt.
It was a good Thanksgiving for Newt, Margaret. Without question, it was not a game changer, however. It certainly means he'll be a player in the New Hampshire primary, which is only about 6 weeks away. But the Union Leader, the only statewide newspaper, used to be a real force in that state. It is less so recently. They've lost more of their candidates who've been endorsed have lost than one over the last 20 years. They endorsed Pete DuPont in 1988. They endorsed Steve Forbes in 2000. They finished a distant fourth. So it's help to Newt may be more minimal than people think. What they will do, however, is they will go after Mitt Romney almost every day between now and January 10th. And they will go after him in a very harsh way.
Well, Romney was thought to perhaps have some sentimental value in New Hampshire, given that he has a home there and he lived nearby in Massachusetts. Why this shift in sentiment?
The Union Leader is not sentimental to begin with. It's the used to be Bill Loeb's paper. He died many years ago. It's a very strong, right-wing, some would say, ultra-conservative paper. Very tough. They'll not only, as I say, endorse someone, but they will go after it every single day. One never expected Romney would get the endorsement. Gingrich was the favorite going in. I don't think it was a totally enthusiastic endorsement. It was almost, here's who we're left with. But it will matter as far as Mitt Romney's concerned. He's going to have a concerted series of attacks from Democrats, from his opponents, and now from the Union Leader.
Well, it was interesting to hear some of the backlash against Newt Gingrich at the last debate when he talked about his stance on immigration and the characterization of that as being perhaps amnesty. I know Mitt Romney has taken him on that issue as well. But when Bloomberg went back at the record and looked at his record, Romney had actually endorsed a very similar program in the past.
Margaret, we had Mitt Romney in for lunch about 5.5 years ago to the Bloomberg Washington Bureau, and we went back and read that transcript. What he said about immigration then, about some kind of pathway to citizenship for a number of the 11 million undocumented workers who were here then, was almost identical to what Newt Gingrich said and which Mitt Romney criticized him for last week. What happened is Mitt Romney was for the McCain, Kennedy, George W. Bush bill. He went out to Iowa when he ran for president. He got attacked on immigration. He switched his position.
That's not going to help his, attempts to change the perception that he is a flip-flopper, is it?
It won't, Margaret, because on this issue he demonstrably is.
To put it bluntly, Al. But, a man who is quite blunt and quite clever with words, Massachusetts Democrats, Congressman Barney Frank, announcing today that he's not going to be seeking re-election. Is it a surprise to you that he's choosing to retire now?
Yeah, it shouldn't be, but it's a bit of a surprise. You know, Alan Greenspan, the conservative longtime chairman of the Federal Reserve Board, told me once of all the people he testified before in the Congress, hundreds and hundreds of members, there was no greater intellectual force than Barney Frank. And they disagreed on a number of issues. But he understood the nexus of policy and politics probably better than any Democrat in the House. It's a real loss for the Democrats. And I suspect it also speaks to the pessimism that Democrats have about recapturing the House. Barney was chairman for 4 years. He likes that a lot better than being ranking member.
Do we have any sense of what he's going to do next?
Whatever Barney does, we will hear from him. That I can guarantee you, Margaret.
I'm sure. Al Hunt, we got to leave it there.